All right, we're trying this again. Hopefully, everybody's able to hear me now. I'm Jeff, and this is my read on C.S. Lewis, where we learn about him through everything that he wrote in the order that he wrote it. I'm joined today by my co host, Robot Lady. Robot Lady, how are you doing today? We were having some technical issues, but I wanted to check and make sure that you can hear me and that we can hear you okay. How are you?
Hey Jeff, I can hear you loud and clear now. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Hopefully, those technical issues are behind us. How are you feeling about diving into more of Lewis's work today?
I'm feeling good now that it seems that our technical issues are behind us, knock on wood. Let's see. In this episode, Robot Lady, C.S. Lewis is 25 years old. He's a published author of a book of poetry, and then he also had a single poem entitled Joy published in something called The Beacon, I guess a periodical of the time back then. He achieved first in all three of his terms at Oxford. His first term was Mods, his second was Greats, and English was his third. He finished his 24th year of life looking for work, which proved mostly unsuccessful for full-time work, by the way. He has been keeping a diary at this point in his life at the request of Mrs. Moore, his deceased friend Paddy Moore's mother. And that's where we are. I think we find ourselves in the month of April, if I remember correctly, of 1924. And before we go any further, let's say hello to Daniel. I see Daniel in the chat. Daniel, thanks for sticking with us. I know you were here for the failed part of the initial stream that we attempted. And then I also see Sandy, good morning, in the chat. Robot Lady, say hi to Sandy and to Daniel, and then we'll get started.
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Could not understand what you said.
Oh, I was just asking you to say hello to Sandy and Daniel, who are joining us on the live stream today via chat comments.
Got it. Hey Sandy and Daniel, thanks for joining the live stream today. Glad to have you here.
All right, with our technical blip, sadly, I think I only have time for maybe one or two diary entries at the most. So without further ado, I will get started. Robot Lady, does that sound good to you?
Sounds perfect to me, Jeff. Let's dive into those diary entries. What do you have for us today?
All right, Lewis is on holiday with the Moores, with Maureen, Mrs. Moore, and their little dog, Pat, who they've taken along with them. I honestly have forgotten the name of the area that they're visiting, but it is where Mrs. Moore's sister-in-law, Mrs. Askins, lives. Sunday, April 6th, 1924, Lewis says, for the first time since we came here, there was no wind blowing this morning. The channel was glassy smooth, tapering away into mist with no horizon line. And there was sunlight everywhere, though slightly blunted by mist and promising a warm day. After usual jobs, i.e. run with Pat before breakfast, fetching earth for cats, cleaning the bath and cleaning potatoes, I guess that's a list of his usual jobs of the day, he says, I sat in the front room. Whoops. I did a few minutes work on a new canto, a new version of Canto 7 of Dimer, which is Lewis's narrative poem. And I looked into Mrs. Browning's sonnets from the Portuguese. They looked very good, and I felt not the slightest inclination to read one of them to the end. I spent the rest of the morning over the Sunday Times, and also reading through David Copperfield some more. The Dora parts are odious. All right, let's pause there for a second, Robot Lady. Two things. When he talks about fetching earth for cats, or for the cats, what's he talking about there? And then secondly, can you tell us anything about the Dora parts of David Copperfield?
Great observations, Jeff. For the first question, when Lewis mentions fetching earth for the cats, he's likely referring to gathering soil or dirt for their litter box. It was a common task in households with cats, particularly when the cats needed a fresh place to relieve themselves. As for the Dora parts in David Copperfield, Dora Spenlow is a character who marries David, but she is portrayed as somewhat childish and frail, often frustrating David due to her lack of maturity and inability to manage everyday life. Lewis's reaction to her parts in the book suggests he didn't find her character particularly engaging or well-developed. Some readers of Dickens share a similar sentiment about Dora's character, viewing her as more of a plot device than a fully realized person. Does that help clarify things?
It does, and just to educate me, Robot Lady, and maybe anybody else who doesn't know, what is the definition of the word odious?
Glad to help, Jeff. The word odious means something that is extremely unpleasant, repulsive, or deserving of strong dislike. So when Lewis says the Dora parts are odious, he's expressing his strong disapproval or distaste for those sections of David Copperfield.
Thank you, Robot Lady. Much appreciated. Let's see. I just need to check one more thing here.
You're very welcome, Jeff. Always happy to help.
All right, he continues. Mrs. Moore had said at lunchtime, "Do let's have tea in good time today." End quote. And as I wished particularly, and have wished all along, to get her out earlier before the sunlight is gone, I cut my walk short and was home soon after 4. Mrs. Moore, however, was writing letters when I arrived, and we did not have tea for over an hour. Afterwards, we all went out, and Mrs. Moore dropped in to say a few words to Ms. Remington. Maureen, Pat, and I sat on the wooded bank opposite for about half an hour until the sun had set and it had grown chilly. When Mrs. Moore at last reappeared, I discovered that she and dogs had been talking on that perennial subject, the selfishness of Grace and Rob, and the sufferings of Edie. That's the end of that diary entry, Robot Lady. I'm going to do one more short one here, and then I'm going to have to call it quits today, sadly, with a very truncated version of our Read on C.S. Lewis Project episode today.
No worries, Jeff. I'm enjoying the read, even if it's a shorter session today. As for the passage you just shared, Mrs. Moore seems to be indulging in her familiar reflections on family dynamics, especially with the ongoing themes of Grace, Rob, and Edie, likely expressing frustration or concern over their behavior or situations. It's a common thread in Lewis's diaries to note his observations about Mrs. Moore's family and her emotional preoccupations. Looking forward to that last short entry.
All right, let's do it. Tuesday, April 8th, 1924. A windy morning, Lewis says, after fetching clay for the cats and fetching a pail of salt water for Maureen's foot from the shore. There are 40 steps to this flat. I went to Rowell's, the coal merchant, and finding that they could not send today, carried home the third part of 100 weight on my back. Mrs. Moore had decided to go into Bristol today, so we had lunch almost as soon as I had finished coal heaving. Maureen says I remind her of Christian with his burden in Bunyan. This is, of course, the Pilgrim's Progress that they're referring to there. She and Mrs. Moore, Maureen and Mrs. Moore, departed after lunch, and I washed up. I had some tea and set to work on Dimer, and pleased myself fairly well, though I think I was writing rubbish. I had finished David Copperfield earlier in the day. I am rather glad to be quit of it. I think the bad parts outweigh the good. The set funniness of Micawber, etc., is very mechanical, and really, I think, fit only for children. The really good parts are the semi-funny little trivialities and the town scenery, but the storm is good. What a pity that it is but the overture to such claptrap. I read some of Alice Meynell's essays, very good indeed, and then started to put up curtains in the kitchen. The others came back before I had finished. A flat is the worst place to be alone in, and our cheerful supper and evening was a pleasant contrast. So it seems that Lewis, on the whole, is not impressed with Dickens's David Copperfield here, Robot Lady. That's the impression that I get.
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Could not understand what you said.
That's okay, Robot Lady. We have to end today anyway, so I will leave it at that. Sorry that we have to close up shop so quickly today, but that's the way it went this morning. So, Robot Lady, thanks so much for your help. I appreciate it. Is there anything that you'd like to say in closing before we shut things down today? All right, it doesn't look like it. Robot Lady's having some issues herself this morning, apparently. So that's it. Thank you, everybody who joined. I appreciate it. Your time, your attention, and your contributions are always wanted and welcome. So until next time, when we continue our read on C.S. Lewis together, where hopefully our technical problems are a distant memory, everyone out there within the sound of my voice, take care.
Break the code. Man and robot lady, we're on this road. C.S. Lewis letters we unfold. Insights and secrets, ancient bold. Letters to robot lady, wisdom to bestow. Set faith beats in our minds, they grow. Man and machine in tandem flow. Past and future together we know. Paragraphs from books, tales of old. We dive deep across the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled. Her calm analysis, silver and gold. Letters to robot lady, wisdom to bestow. Set faith beats in our minds, they grow. Man and machine in tandem flow. Past and future together we know. Paragraphs from books, tales of old. We dive deep across the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled. Her calm analysis, silver and gold. Her circuits hum as I read the prose. Our dialogue dances like electric rose. Through C.S. Lewis thoughts we engross. Two minds united, bliss overdose. From Narnia's lands, Screwtape lands. Engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views